welcome to the Gnostic Deluge. I'm Mark.
You kicked the camera.
Oh, I did. Just keep going. Who cares?
All right. Should we keep on going?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Brandon.
And we're here to talk all things extra-biblical, non-biblical.
Controversial.
Yeah, so we wanted to start in the beginning. Kind of.
Yeah.
Not quite, but...
a little bit after the beginning. If the beginning was before humans came around, right? So a little bit after the beginning.
After humans came, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we picked today, well, I guess the... Oh, wait, where's the better one? The first and second books of Adam and Eve.
Here's one. Here's a copy, too. Different translation.
And so we wanted to, just kind of get into some of the things that happened to them after. But actually, I kind of got into this. Started talking to Brandon a couple months ago or so.
Yeah, it's been several weeks.
Listening to Graham Hancock.
Oh,
actually, when he was on Joe Rogan.
Is that what spurred this?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, actually, that's what got me kind of like, dang, man, why didn't we ever do... it got me back into... I'm drinking a ginger beer, by the way. Do you want one, Brandon?
Yeah, I'll take one. I'm just checking after you kick the camera if it's actually still centered. I think it's good enough.
We can stop this.
No, this is the way it should be.
Like, it's too late.
Obviously, this is unscripted, and we are like not afraid to kick the camera and to stutter a little bit. So
yeah. So but anyway, I was listening to Graham Hancock, and he was talking about the kind of the similarities in all the different traditions, sacred traditions of the deluge, the flood. And actually, that's where we got the name.
Gnostic deluge.
Yeah. So
it's like a flood of knowledge.
The flood of knowledge.
This has nothing to do with Gnostic as in
necessary,
like a Gnostic religious tradition. We are not going to talk about the cosmos and God being a woman or anything. We're talking.
We might eventually.
Yeah, it could get to that. But yeah, thanks, Mark. Should I try this right now?
Yeah. Live. Spicy.
Whoa, that's good.
I love a good ginger beer. So scoot over a little bit.
Like this?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so here we are, a couple weeks later, ready to talk.
Yeah. Can I get one quick history?
Yeah.
Just the other thing that Mark did not mention is we actually first came across the Adam and Eve first and second Adam and Eve texts probably about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not like we didn't pick this up from Amazon a few weeks ago.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, it was there was a teacher, Bruce Porter.
The legend, Bruce Porter.
Bruce H. Porter? Anyway,
there's
the legend, and hopefully we can eventually get him on this show. But because he knows so much, he's just like a wealth of knowledge, and he recommended, because actually we were talking about the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, we were.
And he said that there's a compilation that has the Book of Enoch and also some stuff with Adam and Eve. So
we picked it up. Let me grab my copy real quick. There's one more copy here.
Oh yeah.
This is an old. I think this is the first one we grabbed, right? When the two of us grabbed these books many years ago.
Let's get somebody's phone number in it.
Yeah, this was bought and used, obviously.
Didn't we get that at... Yeah.
Bookman's or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that, But yeah, so there's a lot of different versions out there, copies, if you can get your hands on it cheap.
Yeah, before we get started on Adam and Eve, if you want to find a cheap way to get the books of Adam and Eve, like Mark said, there is a book called The Lost Books of the Bible and the Forgotten Books of Eden.
Yep.
And it includes many different pseudepigraphic and apocryphic texts, and the books of Adam and Eve are just two of them in here.
Yeah, it's got like the baby infancy gospels, which is really crazy, like Jesus stuff about when he was a kid growing up.
Stories when he was.
It ain't easy being the son of God. Let's just say.
No. And having all that power, it's just a hard thing to live with.
And then And then this has like Maccabees.
Yeah.
Book of Barnabas.
Yeah, some of them are more common than others.
Yeah. So anyway, but one of the interesting things, and actually I thought that this would be interesting. I got some notes here.
I saw the notes. Oh my gosh, those are notes already.
But in the Genesis account, there's only 2 chapters really on Adam and Eve.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah. So one of the things is that, and it that's all the information really you have about Adam and Eve.
So the rest of it comes from stories that people tell.
Yeah. Because there's all these rumors about, what was the fall and what was blah, blah, and you're like, well, it doesn't really even say.
And different religious traditions have like a kind of like a lore about Adam and Eve that doesn't come out of the book of Genesis at all, but yet everybody kind of believes it. And so I think that one of the sources for all that might be from the first and the second book of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
When we were reading through this, I did notice that there was things that I had always believed or I had always heard, but I never knew where it came from.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well, so okay. Well, do you just want to get into it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh wait. What? No, we were talking about when the book came about.
Okay.
When they believed. So what were you saying?
This
about
is super
that?
not. Yeah. This is like not about the book, but just to get this out of the way. This. I'm gonna count the amount of times I say too. By the way, this text is dated around 300 CE, and that's because they do feel that the different translators who have
CE or ACE?
CE.
Wait, that's BC? I hate these new terminologies. Just keep it as it.
So the reason
Common error.
The reason why Mark's confused is because the copy that he has is like 1927, right? Is when it was published.
Oh yeah.
And this is back when they started. This was back when they still used BC and AD. And so we're looking at dates, and the translator is like, this is from around 300 AD. But the text that I was reading is a newer translation from Joseph Lumpkin, and I believe he's actually using CE and BCE, right? If he's not, I could have just made that up.
So CE is common error.
Yeah.
It's basically they just made it more.
They took Jesus out of it.
They took him out, man, just like Christmas.
They took Jesus out.
I will never say CE. No, but but it could, some of the stuff could date earlier just because a lot of it's traditions.
Yep. And there is evidence in different texts that these traditions of Adam and Eve, they predate 300 CE, but the finalized text that started circulating, the first occurrence of it they can find is from Christianity and on. So 3rd century, between 200 and 300 CE. I don't know how much more we should say on that without having done the actual research ourselves.
This is all speculation. Hey, so but one of the things too to remember is that we're just taking this stuff at face value. We're not necessarily saying what everything in here is true, or we're not defending it. We're not here to add or to take away from the words of the books of the. I was just listening to Revelation from LibriVox.
Oh, the free
free
audio version.
Anyway, so we're just kind of, whenever we read these things, we'll take them at their like what they're saying is true. So.
And half the things that we say are going to be wrong, and
yeah, we're not scholars.
Yeah,
I'm not. Are you?
No, I'm not a scholar. We're pretend scholars sometimes.
No, we just like to look into things. So
let's start before we start making this like a 30-minute video about nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So one of the big things is that. Oh, one thing that I thought was interesting in here is that God knew that man would fall. At least he says.
Yeah.
In 1 verse 4, he says, I'll just read the whole thing. And God created that sea of his own good pleasure, for he knew what would come of the man he should make, that after he had left the garden on account of his transgression, men should be born in the earth. Anyway, so he kind of, there's a couple times where it refers to God actually going, oh, I knew they were going to mess up.
And what this part is, in the first chapter, what Mark was reading is a part that is describing the geographical location that Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden, was.
Yeah.
And it's saying that there was a body of water to the north that, and this is kind of the fantastical part of it, I think, or the embellishment part.
The crystal sea.
They said it was crystal clear and that you can see down to the core of the earth. And so God did not want to put Adam and Eve on the north side of the land, of the continent, because then they would see that beautiful water and they would want to go in it. And the water even has mystical properties too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Good. That's why. See, that's why this is good. Because it had the property to be able to cleanse you.
Yeah, they would be be cleansed of their sins if they bathed in it. You missed that very significant part.
Well, yeah. So anyway, so he puts them on the other side.
So he doesn't want to put them on the south side because then they'll smell.
Oh yeah.
Then they'll smell the flowers or the
savor or
what's the term that
I know.
Use?
Oh, the delicious smell of the trees of the garden.
So then they'll smell the flowers of the garden, and so they will be longing for it, and they'll eventually migrate towards it anyways. So he didn't want to put them on the south side either.
So he's got to put them. Where's he end up putting them? East.
He put them on the west side.
West side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he puts them on the west, so he finally figures out where to put them. So they're. And it's like it seems like it's the worst part of the world that he puts them in. At least from Adam and Eve complaining.
He puts them in the part with all the jagged rocks and the sand. And I wanted to mention one thing that I forgot to mention about this water to the north. I marked it. This is great.
No, that's fine.
And when a man washes himself in it, he becomes perfectly clean and perfectly white, even if he were dark.
What's that?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
The water just like, it's not even about just your sins. It just like bleaches you, apparently. So
has it got Clorox in it or something?
I would guess.
Skin bleaching.
Yeah, and that's how you keep it as clean as you need to get it, so that it doesn't like get those pollutants and the silt doesn't contaminate it.
Well, so they're leaving the garden and then they die right away in chapter 2.
Yeah. Should we mention
They're so sad.
Should we mention a common theme in the book?
Adam and Eve die a lot. That's one of the funniest things. Yeah.
I would say that they die.
I was trying to write down.
Did you count
I started to. In the first 21 chapters, Adam and Eve die 5 times.
That was my guess. In the first, I was guessing the first 15 chapters, they die about every other chapter.
Yeah. So anyway, so God kicks them out, and then
out of sorrow they die. Right?
They just die right there. Yeah. They saw how bad this place was. They saw the broad earth spread before them, covered with stones large and small, and with sand, and they feared and trembled and fell on their faces from the fear that came upon them, and as they were dead.
So what I'm picturing here, and I thought about this a little bit when I was reading it a few times, is this is when Adam and Eve would have been just barely become mortal, right?
Or they're in the process.
Yeah, they were just like, so they were, according to what this text does not talk about at all, is while they were in the garden, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't talk about them in the garden.
Well, it does.
This is post-garden.
But it talks, well, yeah, it goes on, it talks about their state in the garden.
It mentions in hindsight.
This is like after the garden.
So here they are.
This is BG, or AG.
After garden.
That's how we're looking at things.
Forget BCE and CE. This is after garden.
Yeah.
And actually, we'll have more to say about times because I think timing is dates and times are big in here too. But anyways,
yeah.
the thing is I was picturing this. Adam and Eve are kind of like infants in a way with grown bodies.
Yeah, but they're. I think they were probably young too. I don't even know if they were teenagers.
That'd be awesome if they were
prepubescent.
So here we have these human beings that have been living a non-human life for however long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they leave the garden, and the way that it's worded in chapter 2, and a few times it says that they're looking, like Mark was saying, they look at the sand and the rocks, and they're seeing things that are not flowers and they're not beautiful creatures. They're seeing like the ugly parts of the world. That's an opinion, I guess.
Okay, so
but because of their fear and their trembling, they fell on their faces from fear. I'm picturing my 2-year-old son and watching him fall on his face and not realize that that there's tile below him.
Oh,
and he basically smashes his head into they don't know they're mortal, so they fall down.
Yeah, I was like, these guys are softies, man.
Yeah, they don't know, they don't realize that when they smash their face into the ground, that it's gonna hurt and might maybe even kill them.
Okay.
And there's a few parts of the book where they do, like, remember they jumped off the mountain?
What the heck? Yeah.
And so I think I'm picturing a 2-year-old kid who's barely learning, like, wow, that hurts, you know? And imagining Adam and Eve being so overcome with, like, sorrow that they just faceplant into a jagged rock and kill themselves.
Okay.
I have a question to ask you though before we go on.
All right.
When you're reading and it mentions the times they die, in my text it never actually says they die. It always says like as if they were dead.
Yeah, mine too. But God has to keep coming.
So the way that the text is worded,
as if dead, but they were. Maybe it's because they couldn't. Like, remember.
They can't die.
Yeah, they have to have had their life or something, you know, like God said that in the day that you eat of the fruit you shall surely die, right? But we know, okay, this is kind of getting into
here at all.
I know, but I'm saying, but okay, what is mentioned here is whenever God raises him up and Adam's like, oh man, this sucks, this is the worst, this is, you know, there's all these rocks and stuff. And then God says, well, you can't be redeemed till 5.5 days. And then they mention, because in
5.5 days is awesome.
Yeah, 5.5 days, like, that sounds great. The 5.5 days, that's all I have to wait. But then God explains that 5.5 days is actually 5,500 years in mortal time. So...
That sucked.
But I'm saying,
hearing that.
But okay, well, remember, so God said that he won't, in the day that you eat, you'll die.
Yep.
But and Adam, according to this math, if a day is 1,000 years, then Adam died within 1,000 years.
And so
I don't know if that
prophecy
was them trying to.
Accurate, right?
Yeah.
God knows everything. And God said, hey, in the day that you take that fruit, and I'm not going to tell you that I'm actually referring to a day as 1,000 years, by the way, but in that day you'll die. And so Adam lives to, like, according to the book of Genesis in the Bible, he was like 900 or something years.
Yeah.
And so in theory, he died in one of God's days.
So I don't know if they're jumping through hoops to make it work, but then according to this book, because this is where some of the things that Brandon was talking about earlier, where this is written after 300 AD or whatever we're calling it,
300 CE. 2nd century. It's called 2nd century.
That there's a lot of Christian allusions in here, and he said that his word will come down in 5,500 years.
Yep.
The 5.5 days, and redeem them so that they can come back into the garden or whatever. So, but it's going to be 5,500 years from.
Yeah, it's okay if I read that part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here's one of the first of many Christian evidences that this is a Christian text. Or you can say that it's just a super good prophecy too, but whatever you want to hear. God in his mercy for Adam, who was made after his own image and likeness, right? That's from the Genesis right there.
Yeah.
Explained to him that these were 5,500 years, and how one, capital one in this text, one would then come and save him and his descendants. But before that, God had made this covenant with our father Adam in the same terms before he came out of the garden, when he was by the tree where Eve took of the fruit and gave it to him to eat. So yeah, it's saying that in 5,500 years, someone will come and save them.
Well, yeah, and I think that this one's more... Actually, they might be... Because, the beginning of the New Testament, they changed the word. Mm-hmm. Or they explain, what he... in the beginning was the Word. Yep. The Word was God. The Word
Logos.
Was made...
Logos. Remember Porter talked about the Word. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, but I'm saying... But the Christians kind of... I'm not... we're saying, well, whenever they mention the Word, that was Jesus. So they're saying from the beginning, Jesus... And that's what this text says, too, is... From the very beginning with Adam and Eve, they, Jesus was known about, or or that they knew that salvation was going to come from the Word.
This is part of the plan, and that's what I'm reading too.
Yeah.
Yep, part of the plan.
So anyway, we need to, in chapter 3, verse 8, there's something about the tree of. Is this the tree of knowledge of good and evil? That's what it is. Dang it! I don't know. Oh wait,
I just read the verse up until that part.
Chapter 3, verse 8. Oh wait, yeah. I'm like way ahead. Oh, you did?
Yeah,
we'll keep going.
Yeah, I'll keep on going. Verse 8 of chapter 3. Because when our father Adam came out of the garden, he passed by that tree and saw how God had changed the appearance of it to another form, and how it had shriveled. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you look up in they're talking about the fruit that Eve took and gave to him to eat. So something happened with the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
In standard Christian lore, I'd never heard that the tree of life died and shriveled after it was...
No, there's the tree of knowledge of good and evil, not the tree of life.
Oh, did I mix that up?
Yeah, because the tree of life is still there.
Right. That's what I'm referring to.
That's why God is having to protect it.
That's right.
Because he's afraid. Actually, in there,
that awesome cherub is protecting
it. Yeah, there's this angel with a shield.
And he's a character in this, by the way. He comes up later.
He's a good guy. Mm. He's funny.
Cherub. Yeah.
But so God makes him. I don't know. Sends him to a cave, and they're so upset. Like, you're gonna make us live in a cave?
So if there's anything to take from this video, it's that Adam and Eve really don't like caves.
Yeah.
They were really upset when they had this beautiful garden, and they actually die at one point because they're looking at the cave, thinking about the garden, looking at this cave, and they end up... Adam kills himself.
Mm-hmm. He starts hitting himself on the chest.
So they are sent to a cave that... Is your translation say the Cave of Treasures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's called the Cave of Treasures, and it's basically where Adam and Eve live, where they're sent to live for a while. And I'm guessing that it's called the Cave of Treasures because the word that it was translated from, they couldn't come up with a better word. And the reason why I say that, because there's no treasures in the cave.
Well, there is eventually.
Oh, I guess they add them later.
Yeah, and I think that's why it was...
Oh, this is all according to the plan, right?
Well, no, they didn't call it I think they... No, I don't think Adam and Eve called it the Cave of Treasures. I think it was...
Well, yeah, you're right. I guess they weren't saying, hey, let's go back to the Cave of Treasures.
Let's go back to the cave. No, it's the Cave of Darkness to them.
Yeah, they get so upset that there's no light in there.
So it's so miserable in there. There's like a thing where Adam starts lamenting, and he says, what is it compared to the garden with its narrowness compared to the space of other? What is this rock by the side of those groves? What is the gloom of this cavern compared to the light of the garden? What is this overhanging ledge of rock to us, to shelter us compared to the mercy of the Lord that overshadowed us?
The cave sucks.
What is the soil of this cave compared to the garden? See, he doesn't even say cave of treasures. He's not going to call it cave of treasures.
Yeah, because it's not a cave of treasures.
Yeah, compared to the garden, this earth strewed with stones, and that planted with delicious fruit trees. He's just like, this is horrible. And then he gets so upset, like you said, he beats himself in the chest and dies.
So when you were the imagery of that, Mark,
yeah,
of Adam beating on his chest, how did you picture? Did you picture that like this, or
no,
like just like
have
you ever been so mad that you're just punching yourself in the chest?
I've punched myself before.
Really? In the chest?
Maybe not in the chest.
Okay.
Adam was new to it. I don't know. I've never obviously done it to death.
Yeah, Adam. So this is the second or the third. This is the second time that Adam kills himself on accident, and he beats himself.
Yeah, because they die right when they leave the garden.
Yeah. So because the cave sucks, he pounds on his chest until he dies. Eve does not die of pounding her chest.
She starts praying.
Eve, right. Well, she starts crying that her friend is now dead, and then she collapses on top of him, and then
does she die too?
So it never says that Eve dies, but in the next chapter, God sent the word, and the word had to revive them.
Yeah, in 5.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so no, Eve dies of sorrow too.
Does she?
Yeah.
Okay. They die so many times.
So he dies, and then she's just like, I can't do this without him, and she dies too. And then, but he sends the word, and that's what I'm saying. The word always seems like, because is God sending somebody to him, or is he just speaking? I always think whenever they're talking about the word, they, like they were saying with the Christian thing, that it would be the word, like his son coming to raise him up.
Yeah, I'm picturing God in a physical form, perhaps an angel. Somebody has to come and raise them up.
Yeah. One of the things after he finally raises him up, God starts explaining some things, enlightening us at least, to some things. He says, he kind of reveals why Adam ate the fruit and who Satan is. Yeah. And he's always admonishing Adam too. He's like, dude, if you wouldn't have eaten the fruit, you wouldn't be here, would you? He says, of your own free will have you transgressed through your desire for divinity, greatness, and an exalted state, such as I have. So that was one of the reasons that he transgressed or ate the fruit, because he wanted divinity, greatness, and an exalted state. And then he explains to him, kind of starts revealing who Satan is. Satan continued not in his first estate, nor kept his faith. Though I had created him, yet he set me at naught and sought the Godhead, and I hurled him. Oh, dang, Bert. Hurled him down from heaven.
Yep, he kicked him out.
So this is where there's a. I don't know. How much it talks about it in the Bible, with where Satan came from. I mean, I think in Isaiah there's allusions to it, or where the morning stars fallen. But this this book is pretty explicit in that it seems like Satan was an angel, and a high up angel. Yeah. And he got kicked out. Actually, I think
that's what I was referring to earlier. Is some of the things that I read in this book. I kind of answered the question to me of, hey, this concept or this lore that I had always been taught or I've heard before, but I never knew where it came from. some of those ideas might have originally came from these texts, and then kind of like became a Christian
Or
folklore, or like a Christian like common
yeah,
myth.
I mean, whatever these texts were based off of. That's what you're saying. Like
Yeah,
these
totally.
traditions. Yeah,
Yeah.
that go way back. So, well, let's just start skipping
So something
around.
else I wanted to mention
Oh,
that
okay.
happens here as well is this has to do with when God is. Mark just mentioned when God is like, "Hey, you shouldn't have eaten the fruit," is a few times here in chapter. Where are you at? 5 or 6.
6, yeah.
So here at this point, but then in a few other points, God actually he basically says, "Hey, what you were trying to do, Adam, is you were trying to become God, a God like me."
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I would say that most I'm not learned in this like some people are, but most Christians probably don't believe that humans can become gods. But this is like God. Adam was. This is being written as Adam was partaking of the fruit because he wanted to be like God is, like better, greater, like a more superior being. Is
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
and I think that if you were to go around today and say, "Yeah, Adam took of the fruit because he wanted to become a god," people would be like, "Where did you get that from?"
but that no, but I mean, even in the Bible, Satan's like, you'll become as the gods, knowing good from good and evil.
Yeah, if knowing between the difference between good
Well,
and
whatever
evil
that
is,
means, I'm saying. But
yeah,
the problem with the Bible is that it's so.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
It's such a like compact, not concise. Just a compact story that you're just like.
you're right.
He's not. They're not elaborating.
So that concept does exist.
Yeah,
It's just that
but
we think we already understand what's being said there,
yeah.
and so we are like, oh yeah, it's talking about knowing from good and evil.
Well, it's and
And that's
obviously
it.
the devil's a liar.
Yeah, that's
So then he's deceiving them. So.
okay. Yeah, I hear you.
But okay, well let's just we'll
On
keep
going. Your
moving
notes
on.
are
Yeah,
your notes are better than mine. Keep on going.
but when they talk about kind of what it was like to be in the garden and their nature, they had a bright nature.
Are you referring to when they are
Adam and Eve in the garden.
But are you referring to like there's a part where where they're sad that it happens first when it's dark and they don't like the darkness.
Well, they got these. Yeah,
Adam hates darkness, and he's afraid of it actually in this story. And what happens is God, in explaining to Adam and Eve why they never noticed the dark before, is he mentions how they were in my own interpretation, he mentions that they were beings of light.
yeah.
And that their bodies that they have, their skin that they now have, and their flesh, basically means that it's going to be dark.
Well, that's part. I mean, this one isn't exactly. But this says, like some of the. I was just talking about some of the things they could do whenever they were. Before is that when they were in the garden and they were in that other state, they said we saw angels that sang praises in heaven.
Oh yeah, okay.
But now we see not as we were used to do, and then God says to him, "Thou hast a bright nature, or had a bright nature within thee, and for that reason couldst thou see things afar off." So they could see like these.
I loved that.
These other, whether it's other dimensions or something, I don't know, because they can't see angels anymore.
You're right, and that's what they're complaining about. Like, hey, we can't see these things anymore.
Yeah.
And God said, hey, your mortal eyes can't see as
Yeah,
well.
you can't see. Yeah, so there's that's part of this fall or their new state, and then they drown in the water. Wait.
You're past me, but that's fine.
Oh, I mean, well, where are you at? 10?
I'm anywhere. I'm everywhere now. Don't worry about me. I do want to. There's a few parts before we get up to chapter 10. There's a few parts where the writer kind of and I love this when this happens in like in these ancient texts, but we're reading a story about Adam and Eve, and then all of a sudden it's as if the narrator looks at the reader and says, "And I want you to know this too."
Where does he do that? He's like putting himself in there.
Yeah. So on chapter 6, there's Roman numerals, and it takes me longer to read the Roman numerals.
Mm-hmm.
On chapter 6, at the very end.
Yeah, why'd they keep the Roman numerals in? Like, that's official. Can't you just... Yeah. It's like a translation.
Yeah.
But they couldn't translate out of Roman numerals.
And they were written in Roman anyways, right? Or in Latin anyways, right? So, okay, so when he talked about how he got rid of Satan and he hurled him out of heaven, right? Mm-hmm. I love the word hurl, by the way. When he hurled him out of heaven, he says, "For I am God the Creator, who, when I created my creatures, did not intend to destroy them, but after they had greatly roused my anger, I punished them with grievous plagues until they repent. But if, on the contrary, they still continue hardened in their transgression, they shall be under a curse forever." So he's saying they, right? It's just Adam and Eve here, apparently. Mm-hmm. But he's like, so it's almost like the narrator's like, and let me tell you about what happens if you don't repent.
Yeah.
If you don't repent, you're going to be living this horrible life.
Yeah, this isn't just Adam and Eve.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like one of those epic like pauses where the narrator or the writer, spends a moment and like, make sure that you live a good life, because this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be dealing with if you don't live a good life. If you don't repent, you're going to suffer. And life is gonna suck. Mm-hmm. That's how I see that. Like, hey, when you're reading this story to your children around the fire, make sure that even though the Adam and Eve story is funny and it's funny to read about them dying, make sure that they also know that you better be a good person in this life.
Yeah.
Or else you can have plagues, countless plagues, you're gonna be cursed forever if you don't just live a good life. That's all.
All right.
Thank you, narrator.
Thank you for pulling back the curtain.
Yeah.
And letting us.
Yes. Bringing this back to life for a minute.
See, so next is the time where they're standing in the dark cave, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're all like, "I can't see you." Like, also, okay, so they got stuck in this cave, and
it's their home.
Yeah, this is their new house, and it's the worst.
First night.
Yeah. So one thing too you got to that they talk about here is that in the Garden of Eden there was not night and day. There wasn't the sun setting, and
that's funny to me because according to the Book of Genesis there would have been, right?
Well,
the sun, the whole like upon the creation. It was
but the sun's not even invented. The sun's not even invented till a couple days into it.
Yeah, but Adam, apparently, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, humans or man was the last thing.
Yeah.
Created.
Oh yeah, but for whatever reason, this is saying that there wasn't night and day in the Garden of Eden. It was so bright there.
And I think that was my interpretation that I was mentioning earlier, is because they were more of like a being of light, and because they were not like mortal yet, they just didn't notice. There might have been the rotation.
Well, they didn't have to sleep.
There would have been. I'm pretty sure that God did not stop the moon and the sun from moving around, or from the earth from rotating around the sun. So it's more of like they just didn't notice.
Yeah, maybe that's what.
Cycles.
See, but maybe this goes along with, because they were lamenting about. Oh wait, here's where it says there's no night in the garden. For so long as we were in the garden, we neither saw nor even knew what darkness is. I was not hidden from Eve, neither was she hidden from me until she could not see me. She says, but she and I were both one bright light. There were these bright beings.
Yep.
And yet now, since we came into this cave, darkness has come upon us. Anyway, so they're, don't they die in the cave, like of sorrow?
I believe they do. They can't see.
Oh, here's a. Oh no, God comes to him to help him out because they're just standing in front, and then it's like, Eve, where'd you go?
But then not to give you a spoiler, but we probably won't mention it anymore. This is not the last time that darkness is a problem with them. Like Adam has a huge problem with darkness in this story.
He's scared.
He's scared.
Dark.
He's legitimately.
You
feared.
calling him out for being scared of the dark? Okay, so
yeah.
So then God comes to comfort him, and he says, "Oh Adam, so long as the good angel was obedient to me, a bright light rested on him and on his hosts." Wait. Oh wait, is this about the devil again? This is him talking about the devil again. Wait, I think. Dang it.
You're all over the place, Mark.
No, but when he transgressed my commandment, I deprived him of that bright nature, and he became dark. And when he was in the heavens, in the realms of light, he knew not of darkness, but he transgressed, and I made him fall from heaven upon the earth. And it was this darkness that came upon him. I think the thing is, he's talking about the devil again.
Yeah, it's confusing. I thought that he was talking about Adam at that point. But the way that he refers to him falling from heaven...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Could he be referring to Adam falling from heaven? Maybe.
But that brings language.
Everything else in that chapter led me to believe that he was referring to Adam at that point.
No, yeah, well, but then he says, "But when I heard of thy transgression, I deprived thee of that bright light. Yet of my mercy I did not turn thee into darkness, but I made thee thy body of flesh, over which I spread this skin, in order that they may bear cold. I had let my wrath fall heavily upon thee." He says, "I should have destroyed you, but I didn't want to do that." I'm like,
wow, it's like I spared you.
So he was talking about the devil.
Okay, I didn't see that the first. I did not realize that when I was reading through this.
So that's one of the things about this, the Adam and Eve. What's yours got the subheading for? Like, no, I'm saying the conflict with Satan. I think that this book actually reveals more about Satan than it does about Adam and Eve.
Yeah, you're giving away the this is like the overall message that we're going to probably come to. Is this book is about Adam and Eve? But they're kind of like the Leslie Nopes, or they're like the main protagonist, but the story is not really about them.
Yeah. He's more revealing, like, okay, this devil, here's the devil's motives. Maybe we should get into that, because we don't need to go through every single thing.
Adam and Eve continually die over and over. They continually are afraid of the dark. They're experiencing life for the first time, and at one point, they even lock themselves in the cave, or no, they go up and they basically spend 30 to 35 days waiting for God to bring them gifts. So like they're basically, this story is not about Adam and Eve. It's about the God telling them why they fell and about about Satan. Mm-hmm. And there's a few big scenes with Satan in them.
Yeah. Well, okay, real quick, in the same chapter, I'm 13.
Yeah, we're not even in the same place anymore. It doesn't matter. Keep on going.
But, okay, this is another interesting thing. God's talking to Adam, part of this whole giving him comfort and stuff. He says, for I knew thou shouldest sin and transgress and come out into this land. God again says, I knew this was going to happen.
Part of the plan.
I freaking knew this was going to happen. I told you not to eat it. You did it.
Why did you do this?
But he's like, but he knew beforehand, even before they did it, that this is going to happen. He says, for I made thee of light, and I will to bring out children of light from thee, and like unto thee. This is interesting.
That was an interesting part, yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, so he wanted them to have kids in the old state?
It sounded like he was saying that, like, if you would not have fallen, you'd be having babies that were beings of light.
Yeah, well, because, okay, there's that whole thing with there was two conflicting commandments. There's two commandments. But no, the two commandments God gave Adam and Eve was to be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, and don't eat the tree, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure where.
And so,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not saying they're conflicting or not, but God wanted them, according to this text, that they were going to eventually. They were children. They were beings of light, and they were going to have children of light, and then they had to go and eat the fruit.
It up and ate the fruit.
And he says, "But I knew that Satan, who deceived himself, would also deceive thee."
He knew it.
He knew it. He says, "Had I not been and spoken to thee, O Adam, concerning the tree, and had I left thee without..." Oh, this is interesting. This is why he told him not. He says, "Had I not been and spoken to thee, O Adam, concerning the tree, and had I left thee without a commandment, thou hadst sinned, it would have been my offense on my part." This is God talking to him.
That's deep.
He's saying, I had to tell you not to eat it, because if not, and you ate from the tree, you didn't break any commandment. He says, "For not having given thee any order,
You're right.
Thou wouldst turn round and blame me for it." He could have turned around and said, "What do you mean? I just ate a tree of a fruit of a tree." Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting thing, that God knew something was going to happen, and he says he knew it was going to happen.
So like, why not make a rule?
So he's like, I've got to make the rule, or he can blame me.
Exactly.
It's
like, I'm gonna get things moving here. Like, they're gonna do it, and I don't want this to turn around back on me. This is a perfect opportunity for me to kick them out of the garden. So
yeah, I know there's another part where God. There's a part where.
Do you have your notes there?
There's a part where Eve maybe.
Mark has really good notes over there. You can't see it, but they're pretty good.
There's a part where he talks about Adam. Like, actually, there's a potential that Eve didn't hear the commandment.
Oh, and
he wasn't there. Let me see on my phone.
I don't think I caught that part.
There's a part where, okay, Adam was given that commandment before Eve was even made.
Okay.
And so, okay, I do have extra notes here. The first bowel movement.
That part, did that happen?
Yeah. This is the best. Anyway, there's a part in here. Dang it, I thought I had it marked.
It's okay. We'll find it. I mean,
but no, you know what? I know I do have it marked somewhere. Here, talk about something while
do you remember? So there was one part, and we've already passed this, so I'll go back in time a little bit.
Yeah, we can just talk about what's kind
Adam
of
and
interesting
Eve.
to us.
There was one scene where they were actually praying in a different language. Did you catch that? They were praying.
Where's this
in chapter 5. They were praying in a tongue that is unknown to us.
Well, that was because there's their original tongue, right? Adamic.
You would assume that that's what it's referring to, but I like how
it
didn't need to be a part of the story, but the writer of the story decided to make sure that everybody knew that they spoke some language that we don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. I found it.
In case you didn't think that Adam and Eve spoke a different language, they apparently did, and it was one that is unknown to us. And I'm sure that a lot of people have opinions.
I can speak in that pure language.
Could you?
Yeah.
Is it pure vibrations?
You won't understand it. It just will look like my mouth is just moving. Watch.
And let me ask you a question. If you spoken that to me, would there be any way that I could not understand what you're saying? What I'm saying is, like, is it so pure?
Oh, like this pure language and then the language ended up getting...
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I bet that if you were angry with me...
You would know.
It'd be impossible. Like, yeah, you would be like...
I'd be able to convey exactly why.
You would say, Brendan, I am not angry with you. But because the language is so pure, that I would be like, yes, you are.
Oh. I thought maybe I'd be able to convey my thoughts so that there wouldn't be a misunderstanding.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know, language is so limited to what you say.
Yeah, every interpretation is like a huge culprit of wars and fights. And
it's like with text now, it's even worse. Like my wife texts me K, you know, oh, I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden K, and I'm like, wait, is she mad at me? But maybe...
Good point. I like your interpretation.
The pure... Maybe it was a pure language. Okay, so anyways, but... Speaking of the commandment, because they do it a couple times, they reiterate, okay, this is Adam talking. He says, "This command me concerning the tree to which I was neither to draw near nor to eat thereof. And he said to me in the garden, when thou eatest of it, of death shalt thou die." But, okay, so he goes on, he goes, "Moreover, when thou commandest me regarding the tree, that I was neither to approach nor to eat thereof, Eve was not with me." Okay, so this is like...
That's it. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah. He says, "Thou hadst not created her, neither hadst thou yet taken out of her out of my side, nor had she yet heard this order from thee." Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting thing, like, and it's like, you've heard of a catch-22? Like that weird saying, like, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, okay, you told me not to eat the fruit, and I didn't, but then you possibly didn't tell Eve to eat it. She did, and she brings it to me.
Yeah.
And now you commanded me to stay with her, and so I just made a choice. Anyway, it's just an interesting thought experiment or whatever to be like, oh, that... You know,
I'm sure that
it's pretty cool to see, like, that's what I'm saying, like, some of these things, like, open up these, like, much like this bottle.
Wow, the imagery.
Opening up such flavors.
Wow, that was great.
Ooh, that ginger is so good. Do you want another one?
Was that a sharp one? Yeah, I'm done with mine.
Okay. This ginger ale is really good. Ginger beer, it's like
you probably should cover up the label so that we don't have to worry about...
I don't think we're
having a sponsor or...
if Bedford's ginger beer wants to sponsor us, we will take the sponsorship.
And if you look at it, it's non-alcoholic.
It's ginger. I don't know why they call ginger beer. You know, here, this is for you.
Oh, I thought you were like trying to put it in front of the camera. I'm
this beer's for you. I'm all like,
you're like
it's backwards.
Thank you, Mark.
But I mean, I think this might be the forbidden ginger beer, though. It's so good.
That was a good one.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's got that spice to it. I love it.
All right.
But okay, well, let's just kind of
keep on going.
Plug through. Okay.
Unfortunately, we're skipping things.
Well, that's the thing. We're not going to be able to go through everything. If
this book is as epic as we are making it sound, go read it.
Yeah, because we'll just kind of go through and see where we have notes. Like,
okay, wow, you're far. What is that? 16 right there.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Adam offers up something that's kind of like the Lord's Prayer.
Let's talk about that. Because it's a little too Christian, right?
Well, but okay, according to this, the original there is actually in this one there's a footnote, and yours might have even a bigger footnote. He said the original of the Lord's Prayer. This is the guy that interpreted it. His name is something Platt. Rutherford H. Platt. Oh, by the way, Junior, he was related. I think he was the nephew of Rutherford B. Hayes, our president, one of the presidents of the United States.
Oh, that's epic! I didn't know that.
Yeah, so his name is Rutherford Hayes Platt. Anyway,
listen, that's important and all, but I can't get over the name Rutherford.
That's an awesome name.
Why is that name extinct?
I know. When's it going to make a comeback? Rutherford. It's so cool. But so according to his sources, and it was the Lord's Prayer existed 150 years before Christ even said it.
Oh, I don't think I read.
And it's called the Kaddish. It was called the Kaddish prayer.
I did not read that.
So, the thing says the original Lord's Prayer that's supposed to have pre-existed 150 years before Christ was born. It says, "Our Father who art in heaven, be gracious unto us, O Lord our God, hallowed be thy name, and let the remembrance of thee be glorified in heaven above and upon earth below. Let thy kingdom reign over us now and forever. The holy men of old said, remit and forgive unto all that whatsoever they have done unto us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil thing. For thine is the kingdom, and thou shalt reign in glory forever and forevermore. Amen."
So there's so much to say right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The first one I wanted to mention is the term that's being used there, men of old. Right?
Okay.
It says it, men of old, doesn't it?
Holy men?
In my text,
Of old.
it says
the holy
word,
men of old.
the holy men of old.
Yeah.
So who... And I have my opinion, okay? And I'm not going to talk about my opinion at all. This is about the book of Adam and Eve, okay? It's not about how crazy I think things are.
Okay.
But the thing is what when Adam is saying this.
Oh, but this is the original of.
Well, no, but Adam says the men of old too.
He does?
Yes.
What? Uh-oh. Wait, so you're saying there was generations before Adam? Come on, Brandon.
Whoa.
No. Whoa. You're
Okay,
getting way too.
Wait, Adam and Eve. Okay, but they were the first, weren't they, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, here we go. This is what Adam says in verse 9 of chapter, what is this, 23? Yeah.
What?
He says, "And Adam began to make more requests of God our Father, who are in heaven, be gracious unto us, O Lord our God, hallowed be your name, and let the remembrance of you be glorified in heaven upon the earth, and above heaven above and upon the earth below. Let your kingdom reign over us now and forever. The holy men of old said, remit and forgive unto all men whatsoever they have done unto me, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil thing. For your is the kingdom, and you shall reign in glory forever and forevermore. Amen." So Adam just basically said a prayer that definitely refers to men of old, or it was the author deciding that he doesn't care.
Yeah, this is saying, at least the author's note says that this isn't obviously somebody putting things from the Christian era and they...
I know. They're just not being they're not being faithful to, like, hey, you're supposed to be speaking, this is Adam speaking. This is not like someone 300, 250 CE.
I mean, yeah, because this one doesn't
right.
say that, yeah. See, because, well, that's weird, because mine says it different. Adam's actual prayer, he built an altar.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I missed that. That one was pretty significant.
When they go to the altar?
Because when Adam and Eve jump off the
mountain,
kill themselves, because they're so, like, it's just the world's so hard. God brings them back to life, and then, but there's blood on the ground.
Yeah.
They're all blood, and Adam's so grateful to him that he decides to. He builds an altar out of stones.
Yeah, I bet it was unhewn too. I bet you.
It doesn't say. No, they were hewn. But he builds an altar out of stones, and he takes the blood that's on the ground and he puts it on the altar as a thing. And this is interesting because God actually accepts this sacrifice or this.
He casts a fireball on it.
Yeah, but then God says, "Dang it! Oh, this is kind of in the 20s chapters. Oh yeah, So, this is right where we're at. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is perfect.
It was meant to be.
So, God's like, yet now look upon, or no, this is Adam, our blood which is offered upon these stones, and accept it of our hands. And God actually accepts it. And then this is where the Christian interpretation comes into. He's like, I will shed my blood upon.
Yes.
He says, well, what? Actually, this God looked upon Adam and Eve and upon their blood, which they had held up as an offering unto him, and this is interesting, without an order from him for doing so, and he wondered at them, and he accepted their offer. He's like, dude, this is cool. I didn't even think about,
Yeah.
like, thanks.
That's a good idea. That's a good way to show your appreciation for me.
Like, without even getting an order, finally Adam and Eve are doing something on themselves because
Mark,
they've been so dependent on...
let me ask you a question here.
Okay.
Is it better for a person to be asked to give a sacrifice on an altar, or is it better to want to make a sacrifice on an altar without even being asked to do it?
I guess...
How much better is he?
Are you writing scripture as we speak?
How much better is he that sacrifices their own blood from a previous death of theirs on an altar?
Well, okay. Before you get any ideas, do not do this. Because he's trying to lead you down the path. This was a one-time sacrifice.
Yes.
Because in the next chapter, God knew...
Yeah, you're right.
It says, God knew that Adam had in his thoughts that he should often kill himself and make an offering to him of his blood. Therefore did he say unto Adam, do not again kill thyself as thou didst.
Yeah, God's
He's like,
hey, I like your idea. Thank you for making this sacrifice. I can see that you're thinking about doing this again tomorrow.
Like Adam's like,
I'm going to kill myself again tomorrow. And God's like, don't continually kill yourself and sacrifice. And he doesn't say like anything like find a sheep. He just says don't kill yourself.
Yeah, figure out a way in the future to do it different. But I don't want you killing yourself. And it says this was the first offering Adam made unto God, and so it became his custom to do so.
First sacrifice.
Blood sacrifice.
So,
it's a blood offering.
Just before we go on, I just want to make sure that we mention, and Mark alluded to it just now, that after the sacrifice is made, God says, and now behold, I have accepted your offering, O Adam, but the days of the covenant in which I have bound you are not fulfilled. When they are fulfilled, then I will bring you back into the garden. I don't think the part that I wanted to read. Do you think that's the part I wanted to read?
No.
Oh.
What were you looking for?
Previous verse. That was embarrassing. And as you appealed for forgiveness through that blood, so also will I make my blood forgiveness of sins and erase transgressions in it.
You know what? One of the things that I'm realizing, or that...
Is it dawning on you?
No, that I've been kind of putting together, because I was like, yeah, this is so Christian biased. Like, it was written.
Yeah.
So they kept on saying, there's bloodshed, and then we're going to make this allusion to it. But in the book of Enoch, which is actually a Hebrew thing, you see very strong parallels to some kind of Messiah. I'm not saying where it's almost Christian. But it's almost sounds Christian. I'm not, but this is before Christ, and this is before Christian writers are able to put their interpretation into it. So, and it's not necessarily that it is Christ that they're talking about, but it's like very parallel, and that's actually might be where the Christians got their ideas.
So that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope this doesn't sound critical when I keep referencing the Christian part of this. I'm not being critical. I'm just, some of these references, they are either completely Christian oriented, or they're very conveniently sound Christian, or they're just like there was something real to that kind of prophecy.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That just because it sounds so Christian, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, this is obvious in an interpretation of whatever." But if you look at pre-Christian stuff, some of that sounds could be.
And might
Christian.
I add, this is not something that we'll talk about here, but might I add that out of all of the pseudepigraphic or apocryphic texts that we have gone through and I've read and you've read,
the many
that
we have painstakingly gone through.
Okay, so many of the texts that I've read that we're not talking about here also have those types of allusions in there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I mean, because the Hebrews and they have a messianic figure. I don't know. Yeah,
that's it.
So so these guys, whoever wrote this is like, hey, well, you know what? You know who fits into this? Jesus. We're just gonna put him in here
perfectly.
So.
Okay, next chapter. Adam and Eve pray for light to come faster. They're starting to realize that prayer works, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So they're in the cave and they're like, "Oh man, the cave's dark still." I'm waiting for them to learn about fire. But anyways, the cave's dark.
They never really do.
They don't have to because then they get that rod, that golden rod. But anyways.
Oh yeah.
So they're praying for the light to come faster, and God reminds them, like, "Hey, remember, 5.5 days or 5,500 years need to pass. If I make the sun come faster, then that's going to cheat you of the time."
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's. I'll go.
That's it. I'm done. That's all I had to say. That's all.
No,
I had
but
to say.
actually, because that brings me to what I had written here, and I was like, "Oh, how am I going to talk about this?" That I wrote in the thing, time needed for repentance. Adam, where God's saying, "Adam, as for the sun, if I were to take it and bring it to thee, days, hours, years, and months would all come to naught, and the covenant I have made with thee would never be fulfilled. Thou shouldest then be turned and left in a long plague, and no salvation would be left to thee forever." Oh, this is actually him saying that these cycles and everything, this is all for you, because
this is the way
you need some time to work things out. He said, "Bear long and calm thy soul while thou abidest night and day."
Can I interject there? I think that's another little clever narrator looking at the peasant who's reading this or having it read to him in church, and like, hey, you can't get out of the hard work that you're gonna have to do all day long. Like, life's not gonna speed up for you.
Although they haven't even done a day of work yet.
No.
Adam and Eve. Oh, and then God's like a softie, I wrote in here.
Oh, you wrote that?
He says, yeah, I put softie.
Don't do that, man.
Well, no, he's the softie. He says, "But I cannot alter the covenant that has gone out of my mouth.
He said,
else,
I would if I could.
He said, else I would have brought thee back into the garden." He's like, dang it. And he says, "When the covenant is fulfilled, then shall I show thee and thy seed mercy and bring thee into the land where there's neither sorrow nor suffering." So God's like, sometimes I'm thinking, it's like, oh man, I'm just bound. Dude, I made a promise. I gotta be. I'm a man of my word.
You partook of that fruit because I would love to bring you back.
It's so funny. Anyway, so the devil again comes to him.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is the one that so it's dark out. It's dark in the cave, and they want light. And so Satan is like, hey, these guys really want light. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring some of my minions with me, and we're gonna like set up camp outside of the cave of treasures, and we're gonna have light. We're gonna be providing light, and we're gonna shine the light into the cave even. And so Adam and Eve, they see the light, and they're like, "What's going on?" And because they're praying,
and it's their first night, I think, or second.
I think it's the second night at this point. They're praying for the darkness to go away. For the day to continue, for the day to come. All of a sudden, a light shines in the cave, and they're like, "Oh, look at all these people out here."
They're all
with this
singing
light.
praises and stuff.
And But then they're not going to be deceived, though. Adam and Eve are smart on this one, right?
Yeah, the devil's thwarted.
Adam and Eve are like, but why can't you come into the cave?
He's like, hey, come here and tell us what you want.
Yeah.
And the devil, it's so funny. The devil's like, this is working. We got their attention. And he's like, well, why won't they come in and tell us what they want? And according to this, it says that the devil can't come in because of their prayers that are going up and, that we're going to heaven. So then
that's when the narrator looks at the people and says, prayers work.
The gig is up, though. So he's like, wait a second, you're not from God, right?
Yeah.
No. So Adam starts praying. He's like, if they were from God, they would come to us in the cave and would tell us their errand. And then Adam's like, figures it out. He's like, no! He starts praying to God, and he says, no sooner had Adam said this than an angel of God, a real one, the real deal, appeared. And he says...
Hopefully he had a flaming sword, too.
See, he said, the angel's like, this time... First, the devil came to you as a serpent. This time, he came to you in the similitude of an angel of light. So to deceive him.
So Satan is getting a little. He's getting a little cleverer with the serpent gig's not going to work anymore, right?
Yeah, well, because remember that. There was a while back where the snake actually came up to Adam and Eve, and he's
trying
like,
to kill Eve,
the real snake without the devil in him. He's like, man, I used to be the best. I was like the most beautiful thing, and now I'm eating dirt.
Yeah.
Crawling on the ground, and then God throws him over, or an angel comes and throws him into India,
and at the same time, apparently. Curses the serpent again. This time, the serpents can't talk anymore. Right?
Yeah. He's like, okay, no more talking.
So now can you not walk anymore, and your life's gonna suck. But now you can't talk anymore either.
Yeah.
So apparently, serpents used to talk.
See, and then the angel reveals something about Satan. This hideous form has been his ever since God made him fall from heaven, and he transformed himself to look like an angel of light. And then they go out again to go to the garden to go check it and see it, and the devil, they call him the wily Satan.
That's the best word. The wily.
Sometimes his things are like Wile E. Coyote, though. Right? There's the one where he sets up a rock to follow. The devil sets up a rock,
Yeah.
And he's got.
He had a little lever.
Like, let's just say he has a string to pull it, and it's all falling, but then God causes the earth to go down, and then also because Satan picks it out precisely. He's like, okay, I need to make sure it has no holes in it, nowhere that it'll just flatten them once it falls on a nice flat big old rock. And so it's falling, and then God causes there to kind of hollow out the rock, and then the earth below them kind of move down.
Yep, so they get spared.
But then God won't let him out because he's like, this is going to. Oh well, this will be an allusion to when my word comes and is in a stone cavern or whatever for 3 days, So there's that Christian thing.
Perfect, yeah. Yeah, Satan tries to kill Adam and Eve a few times. But my concern is, why would he try? I mean, because they kill themselves quite regularly.
Maybe they're getting smarter.
But if Satan killed them, right, then why wouldn't God just raise them up like he did the other 15 times?
Well, Satan's not always trying to kill him. He's trying to deceive him, trying to get them to break.
He tries to push them in water at one point, right? He tries to drown them.
Well, they drown themselves at one point.
Yeah, well, that's my point. They succeed at killing themselves without Satan.
Well, now he's getting better, though. He says, because Satan comes and this time he comes in the appearance of upon a cloud. He's off to deceive him. And he says, God sent me and them to take thee and bring thee to the border of the garden. Oh, this is when he puts him up on a mountain. Mm-hmm. This is when, okay, so he's trying to, sometimes you're just like, what's Satan trying to do? So he's trying to kill them, and hopefully they'll stay dead.
Yeah, Satan leads them up to a mountain.
See, and the interesting thing is that it says, yet, whenever this is all going on, you're like, why isn't God just saying, hey, dude, this is Satan? It says, yet God withheld his word from Adam and did not make him understand at once, but waited to see his strength, whether he would be overcome, as Eve was, or whether he would prevail. So he's like being tested. God's like, okay, I'll let him do his own thing. And so, Satan, they lead him. They said that they were leading him back into the garden or something. Oh, that's right. No, to bathe the
clear waters, right?
Yeah, and bathe. So Satan's trying to trick him again. He's. I don't. That's the thing. Is like, why wouldn't God just say, "Hey, this is how you can tell us." Like, there's a key to figuring out if it's Satan or not. Because they're very innocent, new to being human. Anyway, so he says he's going to take him to water, but he doesn't.
Takes him to a mountain,
and then all of a sudden,
he's going to push him off.
He's going to push him off, and then Adam starts freaking out and starts praying.
And does an angel come for that? Did an angel come there too?
Yeah. This is whenever he starts pleading for him, and then an angel comes. They wept, both Adam and Eve, before God and begged for his forgiveness. Then came the word from God, know thou that, and understand concerning this Satan, that he seeks to deceive thee and thy seed after thee. And see, because the devil still, that's the thing, is that the devil thinks that he can actually maybe wipe him out.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's always fighting them. Because look, it says he made them go up on top of this mountain in reality, not in a vision. They were really up in this mountain.
It was real. Yeah.
That's the wishing as he did to throw them down and kill them and to wipe off their names from the earth, so that this earth should remain to him and his hosts alone. So he doesn't care whether or not, he's hoping something's going to work.
Yeah, poor guy. I mean, he always fails, you know.
Well, it doesn't always fail.
That's right.
That's the thing. Is
that your message, Mark?
That's my, yeah. He doesn't always fail. I mean, Satan's purpose, like it says, the angel says, is to deceive thee and thy seed after thee. That's all he's trying to do. With the fruit, he's like, God said don't eat it, guess what? I'm going to get you to eat it. Right? God's, for whatever reason, he was up in heaven. He wanted to become a god, and he wanted to do things his way, so he got cast out. So he's always trying to get things done his way.
So after this happens, Adam, I think, and it's kind of out of the blue for me, he asks God to hook him up. He's like, I know this is hard. Can you bring me something from the garden? Right? Let's
see. Adam wept before the Lord, begged him, and entreated him to give him something from the garden. Yeah.
Yeah. And so God sends, was it Michael?
Yeah, God looked on Adam's thoughts and sent the angel Michael. So the angel,
and this is the first of a few angels actually that come into this story. But he sends Michael to get him
golden rods.
Mm-hmm. Which,
does it say anything in footnotes about the rods? Because I'm like, what are these golden rods?
Yeah, it does say. There is notes on the golden rods.
It's in chapter 29 and 30.
You want me to read them?
Yeah.
So first of all, the rod is a unit of linear measure.
Okay.
I was picturing just
like a rod.
Like these staffs, bunch of rods.
But they're
um,
the rod is also a description.
No, all he gives a note on is rod is also a description indicating a long, thin piece of unspecified size. There you go.
Oh, good notes.
A rod of gold.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah.
So Michael goes and gets these rods that are golden, right?
Yeah.
But apparently they also.
But this is by God's order.
They also give light. Like they're magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. These aren't just like this is not a rod that's made out of gold. These are rods that give off light. Yeah. And so this is the end of
it's
Adam's.
Like having a.
This is the end of Adam's fearing of the dark.
Being stuck in the cave in the pitch black. Yeah. So God sends 3 angels. Because the first one's Michael. Michael brings him a gift, the golden rods. Then Gabriel comes down, and he gives him
incense, right?
Frankincense, yeah.
Or incense, yeah.
Yeah, sweet smelling incense. These are all God's commanded all these angels to come and do this, and then
Raphael. Raphael comes.
Brought him pizza.
Yeah. That's a little too Raph.
Jeez.
No, so definitely Raphael comes and brings him myrrh.
Yeah. Which I was trying to figure out, myrrh. Actually, he does say what these things represent. Okay.
Yeah, he does. In the next chapter, he does.
So, because he says, Adam saw it this way. He says, the gold was a token of the kingdom whence he had come, that the incense was a token of the bright light which he had been taken from, and that the myrrh was a token of the sorrow in which he was. That's Adam's interpretation, these things, thank you, but these are what they represent. But then God, he says, I've given these 3 tokens, that thou trust in me and in my covenant, and God tells him what they are. But then he uses the interpretation of, for I will come and save thee, and kings shall bring me. Oh, this is where it brings the Christian thing in, where we're gold, frankincense, myrrh, which Christ was brought, right? What's going on?
I was looking at the time.
What time is it? Time to go to watch? Are we way into it?
So so gold.
So the
incense and myrrh.
Yeah, the gold is a token of my kingdom, the incense as a token of my divinity, and the myrrh as a token of my suffering and of my death. Myrrh is something that I guess you put on dead bodies. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a healing thing too. He says, "But O Adam, put these in thy cave, the gold that it may shed light over thee.
Yeah.
The incense that thou smell its sweet savor, and the myrrh to comfort thee in thy sorrow." So there's these things are symbolic, but they're symbolic of different things to different people. And then God's like, hey, you get these, you remember, all this good stuff instead.
So can I just address that real quick? Or can we talk about that for a second?
Sure.
So I'm not sure where to go. I'm not going to deviate too much here. But gold for incense and myrrh, and then obviously those are the same gifts that were given according to the story.
Yeah.
According to the Jesus birth nativity story, obviously those are the same gifts that the wise men brought for Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that just the thing that you give people that are awesome, or is it hey, let's not get too creative with this story and let's just copy the nativity story and what gifts they brought?
Well,
or you know what I'm saying?
I think that we'll see in other things that they do talk about frankincense and,
I feel
and myrrh.
I feel like I've heard those
So it's not necessarily that it's a Christian thing, because that's what I thought when I was like, okay, this is just clearly this is Christian. There, of course, the gifts are gold, frankincense, and myrrh, because that's what Jesus was brought.
Yeah, but I think that's what I'm saying. Is it or is it more of like a, hey, this is like a super awesome occasion. We're not gonna we're gonna get an awesome gift. We're not gonna just give them like a vase or something. We're gonna give them like yeah.
Well,
Forget like the we're not gonna just get some trivial gift. We're gonna give them the gift. What's the gift? The gift. Gold, incense, and myrrh. If you get those, if I came to your if you have a birthday party, when's your birthday? Sometime. Okay, we have a birthday party for you next year. If I came to it and I brought you gold, incense, and myrrh, you would be like, "That's the gift,
dude."
Like, you know
what am
saying?
I?
And so that's what I'm asking. Is it the gift?
Well, or else you can just leave out the incense and myrrh and just bring me the gold. No. Who needs it? But I'm saying these things are gifts, but they're also symbolic. They give him light,
And that's what really matters, right? Not the value.
but I want the gold, dude.
It's not about the actual gift. It's not about the gold or the incense and the myrrh. It's about is the meaning.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what these things, because they don't even. It seems like this is where the cave goes from the cave of darkness to the cave of treasures, where because they kind of do this thing where they put each piece in a different corner of the cave.
Yeah, it becomes like a little.
And that's where it becomes the cave of treasures.
Have you? You know what's funny is I've heard a few different myths over the years that have a cave of treasures. It has been found
Arabian
in other
Nights.
Stories. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They're old.
This is like this whole concept of like, oh, there's a cave of treasures is something that's been like people have been putting in their stories forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just think of Aladdin.
Yeah.
There's this hidden cave. He has to use these. Oh wait, that's actually. There's the other one, the Alibaba and the 40 or 30, the thieves. Mm-hmm. Where he has to say "Open Sesame." He has to know the secret word to get into the cave, and there's all these treasures in there. So there's a couple. I mean, just in the Arabian thing, yeah. So,
so if you want to write a book, that's awesome.
Put a cave of treasures, dude.
You have to have a cave of treasures.
If it doesn't have a cave of treasures, don't even bother.
Yeah, I won't read it.
That's true. But yeah, here's where it says, these three things, as they continued with Adam in the cave, gave him light by night, and by day they gave him a little relief from his sorrow. So they were good.
That's the best.
And the angel, yeah. So, gosh dang it, this is like a big epic.
Yeah.
I mean, because I got so many notes in here. There's like the war in heaven. There's so much good stuff in here, bro.
So, also,
there's Adam and Steve. There actually is. There's a part where Adam tries to convince, or the devil tries to convince Adam that it was Adam and Steve at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, not Steve. I don't know if his name was Steve, but
no. Yeah.
How long are we going? How long have we been recording?
So, I think over an hour now. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, an hour and 30 minutes.
Jeez, that's sick. No one's gonna watch this. Okay, so anyways, should we find a place to end this one?
Yeah, let's just look.
Can we mention that there was two other angels that come into the picture?
Yeah, Suriel
and
Salathiel.
And Salathiel, which is a new one to me.
Yeah.
And they come in with
They're the ones that bring them down from the mountain.
They do like some chores to help get the whole party ready.
So it's like the Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael are like the main angels.
They bring the gifts.
Yeah.
And then the other two angels, no disrespect to these two angels either, but they kind of like are in charge of like arranging the party. Like, okay, you
their
bring
transportation.
The guests. Yeah, you bring the guests.
Their transportation.
Yeah.
They're like the Uber of the angel world.
Yeah.
they
get
them
app.
from the mountain. That's what we should do, man.
A cereal app?
A Christian app. Finally, get a good Christian driving service.
Yeah. Uber's
it's about freaking
Christian.
time.
Yeah, and then the last thing that I have, and then if you have anything else to say that you can, but
there's a lot to say.
This is where I'll end it though. Is for myself is there's a point when I think that Adam starts to figure out that like when we need help, God comes. So him and Eve he goes, hey Eve, we're gonna go up to the mountain again, and we're gonna sit here for like 35 days and pray. Do you remember that part? So he goes. So
where
Adam,
are you at?
Adam's,
Where are you at?
Chapter
32.
32. And Adam's like, so it had been. It's on the 8th day, right?
They haven't even eat or drank anything.
Yeah. Okay. So Eve. So they haven't. They're hungry, and they say, hey. Adam's like, hey, we prayed God to give us something from the garden, and He sent His angels.
Yeah, Jesus brought us.
He sent His angels, and they brought us what we needed. He's like, hey, we just prayed, and they came, right? And then He says, so now get up, let's go to that sea of water we saw, and let us stand on it and pray for God to again bring us favorable things, right? And
but he's actually saying, praying favorable to us and take us back into the garden.
That's right. He's like,
he's like, okay, well, we just got some gifts. They're nice.
Let's get
Thank
something
you very much.
We really want, though.
But hey, man, this prayer thing works.
So then he goes. Then Adam and Eve came out of the cave. They went to that sea of water, and then Adam and Eve said, "Let's go down here and pray with a burning heart and a sweet voice to forgive us.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go to another place and go to it like you do." Then Eve went down into the water, and as he commanded her, Adam also went down into the water, and they stood there praying to be forgiven. And they stood there praying for like 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wants to go 40 days, but then the devil gets into it, remember?
The devil comes. Exactly.
The devil's like, hey, they're going to let you back. First off, the devil can't find him. He's looking at him in the cave and stuff, and it says, sought them in the cave, but found them not, although he searched diligently for them. And then he finally finds them in the water.
They were hanging out in that pure water.
Yeah. And then he tricks Eve. He says, what does he do? Speak unto Eve.
Peace be unto you. That's right. He pretends like he's God again, right?
Well, he sends a.
He took the form of an angel.
He sent his angels. Wait.
It says in verse 4, then the hater of all that is good did not go to Adam, he went to Eve.
Yeah.
And took the form of an angel of God, praising and rejoicing, and said, and these are the words that we hear in other stories: peace be unto you, be glad and rejoice. God is favorable to you, and He already sent me to Adam.
Yeah. He's like,
I have brought him glad tidings of salvation, and of his being filled with bright light as he was of the first. And Adam in his joy for his restoration has sent me to come tell you too, that I might crown you in light like I did with him.
Yeah.
So,
and then so Eve believes him. He starts And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, she goes and finds Adam in the water. And he's like,
Still
hey,
there,
Adam.
He's still there praying. Yeah.
And Adam's like,
What are you
Eve, no. Why?
doing? What are you doing?
And
he sank into the water, right?
yeah. And God looked on him.
And he beat his chest.
He died.
He beat his chest.
It says, and upon his being about to breathe, he's almost drowned, breathe his last, and the word of God said, go. So, and then Eve tells him, well, gosh dang it, the devil got me again, because he appeared, and he even told the signs. He talked about how we were rescued off the mountain, and the incense and gold and myrrh that we were given. So he everything he said checked out, and then Adam's like, oh, but then they do finish their fast.
Yeah, they fasted for 42 days. So that was an epic fast.
Yeah.
Seems like all good fasts need to be around 40 days. I mean, if you don't fast for 40 days, then it's not real.
Supposedly that's supposed to be some kind of... It doesn't mean for 40 days. I don't know.
Do you think Paul Bragg fasted for 40 days?
Dude, not to brag, but whenever he had that liquid mercury, remember that story?
Yeah.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
He cleaned it,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Only we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
So that we're on chapter 35 now.
Okay. So we got about halfway through. Maybe next time we'll be a little more concise on our notes.
Yeah.
This is just the experiment. So anyway, but what we want to get into eventually is, because there's the story coming up of Cain and Abel, which is really the first murder. But then you have whenever men start to become wicked and come down and start doing becoming what we know as,
so
our world.
Should I show that picture next time then, or should I show it now?
Show now.
So here's an epic...
Let's just experiment.
Let's do it. Look at that.
Check it out.
Spend some good time looking at this picture. We're going to talk more about this next time. As you can see, this is a photo of a picture, but...
You think we're going to get to... or maybe not next time in the future.
If you look on the right side, there's some people in the mountains.
Yeah, the good guys.
That's what reminded me of when you mentioned the up in the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm guessing... We're both guessing that's Eve and Adam in the middle there.
Or is that somebody's... Actually, that might be somebody trying to seduce... Actually, I think that might be somebody trying to seduce Seth.
I think we were way wrong.
The fall of the children own... Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so that's not Adam and Eve.
There
was no way there was that many people.
Yeah.
Because they don't even invent trumpets till after that.
Yeah. And that's... I was hoping that was Adam and Eve, but I think you're right. I think that's not. Yeah.
Eve ain't bad looking.
Yeah. So I was hoping that was, but it's not. It looks like that's actually Seth, probably.
Yeah.
So we might not.
All right, get that off the screen. I cannot bear it.
I
can't bear it.
Oh, get that.
That's cool that you can do that then. But so anyway, because there's a lot of get into Enoch and his prophecies.
Yep.
I mean, Noah and the flood and all the different iterations of that in different traditions.
Is it a raven or is it a dove?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because then we get into
I think you keep the camera again.
Mesopotamia. Oh, sorry. And their flood myths and.
Where did you get that book from? Is that about them? Oh, is that the Epic of Gilgamesh?
It's the creation, flood, Gilgamesh, and other Mesopotamia. Yeah, this is all for future stuff, info. But so if you do watch this and you have any ideas about anything, comment, I guess, if you want.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Just bet you can't wait till episode 2.
Well, hopefully, like I said, now that I've kind of seen how we work this, maybe we'll have better notes out here so we can kind of follow something. Because it's more interesting to, because I was like, kind of looking through and being like, oh, well, there's this that I highlighted. But it's more interesting to see, oh, well, this is the things I'm interested in talking about.
Let me just say that there's no question that this video probably sucked. Like when it comes to like organization.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And come on. Man.
What do you mean? It took us an hour to even figure out how to use the.
Yeah, it's not mentioned that too. We had.
We just did
technical difficulties, and for all we know, we have a huge one happening here. But the thing is, we didn't put like our heart and soul into it, but we definitely think that it'd be more worth it to put our heart and soul to it the next time if this turns out.
Well, we didn't even know how it would go. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like I said, next time we'll be more organized and talk about hopefully more clear and concise, more of a. I mean, not that.
And Bedfords might want to help us.
Yeah, we're waiting for that sweet Bedford's sponsorship. And so anyway,
that's it.
There we go.
You want to do your thing?
I don't have it synced up to where, so we'll just end it.
Okay. We won't do the what's the
outro?
The outro?
Yeah, well we're
that sweet intro you saw, we had an outro for it. We'll do it next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, get yourself. Oh, by the way, I wanted to give a quick shout out. If you don't want to buy it and you just want to listen to the first book of Adam and Eve for free,
we'll put the link in our notes.
Yeah, because it's available on LibriVox.
Yeah, we'll be look at the links in the video notes.
Yeah,
we'll
and
have a few links to some resources there. The book and audiobook, right?
Mm-hmm. See, anyway, so there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Oh, you got
there's
H.P.
the book
Lovecraft
of
on there.
Yeah,
H.P. Lovecraft. We should do that next time.
H.P. Lovecraft, the real dark history of the Book of Adam.
The old the old man video, the old man story.
What old man story? The one in the cave?
Old man. No, that's a good one too. The old man in the house that got robbed and the people and he
I'm gonna have to. I've only listened to a couple stories, but anyway, so this will be a mishmash of different things that we're interested in,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm excited. It got me, it's fun to be able to be reading and kind of researching something that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
All right. Well, we will see you next time. Hopefully, it won't be too long, and
a few months.
We'll post this.
All right.
A few months?
No, I'm just joking.
I was like, geez, we're in trouble.
Next week, same place, same time.
Yeah, get ready for the Gnostic Deluge.
Yeah. Okay, we ending? Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.